So today during the day, well, technically it's yesterday because it's 1 a.m. I walk into class and a student of mine tells me, "Yo, Mark, I've been struggling since yesterday with setting up Tailwind." And I'm baffled because we've been setting up Tailwind a lot for the past several months. But I go to him and I check, and he shows me the problem, he shows me what he's been doing, and he shows me what he's using. And I see it's the same process that we've been using. So I suggest to him to do what I always suggest, to check the official documentations. And lo and behold, even the site looks different. So it turns out Tailwind updated to version 4 a few days ago. I think it was on 22nd, so that's 6 days ago now. And well, I didn't know. So that encounter got me to know that Tailwind has been updated and the process for setting up is different. And then later tonight, another student sends me a message on WhatsApp and they're like, "Mark, the process of setting up Tailwind looks different. How do we go about it?" I'll show the conversation right here, right here. If it's going to be visible, I hope it will be visible. And I'm like, yo, this might be a problem because the way you set up Tailwind now with V4 is not the way that we were setting it up with V3. And we've been using V3 for the longest time. And so I'm making this video as an update to one that I made about 2-3 months ago of setting up a project with Tailwind, just a normal HTML, CSS, and JS project, but using Tailwind. I might have to create one for setting up with React because the process has changed if you're working with Vite as well. So, but that will come later. This one is just setting up the normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project. So let's get to it. I have here the terminal, so I'll just navigate to where I create my projects. That's in local disk D projects. That's an ls. So in case you're following along, do not type that. It will not work unless you have my aliases or you have a similar alias like that. So under projects, I have a Tailwind starter folder, but I'm not going to use it. I'll create a new one. So I call this Tailwind starter -v4. Then I'll cd into it. And the process will be similar in terms of folder structure. So we'll have a public folder, just like we had in version 3, and we'll have an src folder. So that's all I have here. And then for the next part, I'm just going to go into the documentation. But before I do that, I might want to create the index file, which is what I'll use to test that the styles are working. I've actually not done this earlier on with the first student who asked me about it. We set it up with Vite on React, so it worked, but I haven't done this with just HTML, CSS, JS. So I'll create that, open this on VS Code, then we'll go to the official documentations. So this is the previous version that I was testing to see whether it still works, and it does. That's not what we want. So Tailwind CSS. If you've not been here in the past 6 days, then you'll notice that the website looks different, because this is how it was. And so it's been for quite a while. But now we're in V4. And V4 looks different. They've added quite a number of things, quite a number of changes, but I won't be getting into those. The purpose of this is just setting up. So when you click on Get Started, normally it will show you the process of setting up with just plain, just setting up Tailwind on a plain project. So this is by default showing the using Vite option. So if you're on React, then this is what you would follow. Okay, this process. But we are not, for this project, we are not using React. And so the process that you want to use is now under here, Tailwind CLI. You'll see it looks very different. We had a few more commands, a few more things to do. The whole tailwind.config.js file that you needed to add the content, like the content array. But now you don't have to do all that. There's just 1, 2, 3 steps, and that's it. Okay, so we're going to follow these steps. So on here, just copy this. And I don't know, should probably add like the copy icon so that you do not have to highlight and copy. But anyway, so we'll paste it exactly as it is. So npm install Tailwind CSS, and that should create the node modules. It will create the package.json and the package log. We didn't initialize npm. We don't really have to. I mean, you can still do it. You can still do an npm init-y, and that will add the other stuff. But really all you need in this package.json is 1, the dependencies, and 2, the scripts for running this command. And so here we can see that this is in source input.css, and now previously what we were copying there were the Tailwind directives. let me just open v3 so that we can have them side by side. So get started for v3 was taking you straight to Tailwind CLI, and this was the process. So you'd install Tailwind CSS, then you init. So this will create the tailwind.config.js file, which would update with the content array to tell Tailwind where it will find your classes. Then in the input, you'd have to copy this, the Tailwind directives, the base, the components, and the utilities, and then you run the command. But we don't have to do this part. We don't have to do this. We only need to install what we've installed right now. Then for the source input, we don't have to copy all this. We just now need to copy this. So just copy the import, come over here to the source, create the input.css, paste that in there, and then that's it. So I'll copy this command as it is, take it over to the package.json. This is going to be a dev script. So the dev script is going to be npx Tailwind CSS CLI. The input is in source input.css. That's okay. The output, we want it to go to the public folder, then inside a folder called CSS, and in there we'll have style.css. So that public folder, we need to create the CSS folder. CSS. Let's also create a JS just like we had done in the previous steps. So the output will be in the public folder, CSS folder, and then style.css. So in the index.html, let's create the boilerplate. It's taking a second to load. Okay. Then we link to the CSS. So this is under CSS, style.css. And then to test everything, I'll just add a class name here of bg dash black. Okay. And hmm. So right now the Tailwind IntelliSense is not working. I don't know if it's because it needs an update. Let's see. But normally extensions just update. Auto update is on. So I don't know whether we need to, yeah. In order for the extension to activate, you must have Tailwind CSS installed and a Tailwind config file named tailwind.config.js, whatever. So I think they've not updated the Tailwind CSS IntelliSense to work with version 4, because now we do not get the tailwind.config.js. They've moved everything to be based on CSS. So if you want to extend your theme, if you want to add custom colors, everything that you were previously able to do in the tailwind.config.js, you can now just do in CSS. Okay. So we do not get the tailwind.config.js, and since this extension says that it requires, where was that, here, that for it to work, it requires this. So maybe they need to update it, because they're the official maintainers of the extension. So I think we'll just have to wait for that. So for now, with version 4, then I keep saying vision, we'll be working without IntelliSense, and it sucks. But if you've been writing Tailwind for a while, then some of these classes you just know them. But IntelliSense is good. It saves you a lot of time, so you don't have to type the entire class out, but just work with what we have. So H screen. Okay, so the thing that's left is to just run the command, this command. And since I've added it in the script, I can run npm run dev, which I have an alias for, and that's nrd. So it says here that it's Tailwind version 4, and it's done in 281 milliseconds. So the blog post for this says that it definitely looks different. The blog post says that the build process is a lot faster. Yeah, the CSS that's given is actually quite different. Hmm. So I do not see the hit screen in here. It is here. Perfect. But I'm a bit confused because this seems to have given all the Tailwind classes, and this is the output file. That's interesting. So I haven't read the entire And I really cannot multitask. I haven't read the entire documentation for version 4 to see exactly how the output file generates, because with Tailwind normally you do not get all the Tailwind classes, but I guess there must be another build process that's going to strip everything that's not in your project. So let's see. Okay, this is feature mark from a few minutes from now, and I figured it out. So I was editing this video, and I remembered earlier on reading that blog post for the release, and they mentioned something about automatic content detection. So just remember this story about the gitignore that previously we were stating through the content array. We were telling Tailwind that, hey, this is where I want you to scan for the classes, but now it's doing that. It's scanning the entire project, but it has, as they state here, they came up with a bunch of heuristics for detecting all that stuff automatically, so you don't have to configure it all. Okay, so for example, we automatically ignore anything in your gitignore. So this got me to think. So when I remembered this, I was like, this could be the reason why I'm seeing all those classes in that output file, because by default it doesn't not scan the node modules. So by default it is going to scan the node modules. Remember, when I was setting up the project, I didn't initialize git or anything. So normally you'd have an initialized project. So if I stop that, so you'd have done a git init, then created the gitignore, so that in there you can add the node modules. Oh, it's not cut, it's echo. So when you do that, the node modules should ideally be excluded from version control. And so by having node modules here, now Tailwind, the new version, is it ignores automatically whatever is in the gitignore. Okay, so the node modules, these are examples they have here. So anything, whether you're working on, if you're working with the React, create React app, it normally comes with its own default gitignore file. Next comes with its own default gitignore file. So anything that goes inside the gitignore file will be ignored. Okay, then they go ahead and state that they also automatically ignore all binary extensions like images, videos, zip files, and more. So the problem was that they were not ignoring the node modules by default, and so now that we've added it in there, is it still green? It's supposed to be grayed out, but anyway. So if we now run the dev script, you can see it completes in a way shorter time. And I think it was taking 200 and something milliseconds. So right now it's only taking 69. Nice. So the CSS, if we come and inspect the CSS file, we'll see that it only now has 557 lines of code. And all the other classes that I was wondering earlier, why are they in this file, even though they are not in my project, are no longer there. But if we check for the head screen, not the input but the output, if we check for the head screen, it is there, so it's right here. If we check for the BG, so BG block, we change from BG block to BG blue 500. So not the input, just down. So BG blue 500, it is there. So these are the two utility classes that have been added, and they now show up here. Previously, all the classes that you add would have shown up at the bottom of the file, but now it seems they come in right here in the under the in the layer of utilities. Okay, so we have the head screen and we have the BG blue. So yeah, that was what was causing that file to be super huge. We didn't have a gitignore, so here you just add everything that you need to ignore. So all your build folders, your distribution folders, and only have your source content in there, or the content that is being used for development. Okay, so that's it. Carry on. I'm not sure where I'm going to post this video, actually, like where in the previous video, because I mentioned this thing severally, but I likely add it at in the beginning, so the first time that I actually encounter this issue. So later on, you'll have this in mind when I talk about it. I think I've talked about it twice or thrice. Yeah, so the first time, then the second and the third, you'll know what to do by then. Okay, carry on. Okay. Alright, so for the next couple of minutes, what I'm going to be doing is just going through the documentation to try and understand that problem that I just talked about in the previous clip. And I could have cut out this part because it's a bit long and it's making the video too long. But I figured let me leave it in there so that you can see the process of trying to figure something out. As you might know if you've watched my other videos, is that I do this for the sake of my students, first of all, to show them what the process is like of building software. And so this part I left it in here so it can just show you that things do just come clear, right? Sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes it might take a few hours to just figure one thing out. Okay, so this took quite some minutes. So if you feel like watching it, you can. If you do not want to watch it, you can skip to minute 31. And that's why because I didn't figure it out while I was recording the video, I figured it out afterwards. So at minute 31, that's where you'll find me just carrying on with like all the classes in the file and saying that I'll come back to that later. So if you do not want to see the process, you can skip to minute 31. If you do want to see it, you can maybe go on to 2x speed and then just go and then watch this process. So CSS inputs, outputs. If we do not have the watch, if we have a build, that does not have the watch. So let's see whether that's going to build. So npm run build. Okay, so let's see how the it looks shorter. No, no, it doesn't. It's because I have a lot of this. So the project doesn't have all these classes, but they're included. I don't understand. Okay, so it changes. Is into CLI. It's a okay, okay. So this is all the changes, especially the classes that have been done. I think what I'm gonna do is when I create the version for Vite, I'll have done some more research on this and got to understand how exactly the classes are generated, or maybe it's changed. But why would they change that? No, but they cannot have changed that. That's like one of the main selling points of Tailwind. Let me check the blog. In the blog, they mentioned that what are they mentioned? CSS V4. So this is the blog, the article that Adam wrote concerning V4. So automatic content detection. Full build. How do you perform a full build? Let me go into NPM, search for Tailwind CSS/CLI. This is not it. Yeah, this is not it. Is it? Is it? Installation. Tailwind CLI. Tailwind CSS. And no, nothing. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's supposed to detect the classes and then add them to the output file. But if I check the output file, it has everything. So that was not the behavior. Now it could be behavior for just development, and maybe there's another build process that I've not come across. But the file that is built when the file that's built for this is supposed to only contain the styles, but now you can see that it contains all these other styles that are not in my project. Let me delete it, then rerun the build. Let's see whether there's going to be any changes. I don't think there will be any changes. Who knows? Nope, no changes. Still big, still a very big file. But anyway, because of time, it's already 1:30. I have to end the video, and the video is actually quite long. Now is this time? 25 minutes. That's too long. I'm going to end it here. Oh, I have not tested. I've not tested the page. So open it live server. Need to see that these classes have been applied, and yeah, they have been applied because now the body is black. If we change this to white, let's see, white, if we change it to blue -500, we'll see nothing. That's probably because did they change the colors? Where is this? Control K, color, no, text, colors, blue 500. BG blue 500 should be working. We have blue here, that hasn't changed. We have 500 as one of the shades, so it should be showing this, but it's not. It's fresh, nothing. Let's see, BG blue is applied, but we do not have the class showing up. Okay, so it's not building. So let's run the dev so that it continuously watches for the build. Okay, my bad. So it's working, but I am still yet to understand this file that is generated, where it contains all the classes. But that's a problem for another video, for another day. The purpose of this was just to cover the differences in the setup, the lack now of a configuration file, the tailwind.config.js, and the difference with the tailwind import. So previously this was a tailwind something, a tailwind base, a tailwind components and utilities. So now I just import tailwind CSS. Then what else has changed? The command to run. So previously it was tailwind CSS, the package being used. So now it's the CLI. So Tailwind CSS / CLI. The input still the same structure. The output still the same. None of that has changed. I think that's it. So no more having to remember what the content is. So the difference is right here, none of this, none of this, none of this. They need. So what you install is different. Command is different. It still remains the same. You have to link to the file, then you use the classes. So two things that I need to figure out is one, IntelliSense not working. You can see when the colors, normally you have like a color right there. If I open the one that's running on version, I was about to say Visual again, the one that's running on version 3, so this one's done with the content. I will come to the public index. We're able to give to C. So this is BG. You can see the IntelliSense at work. It shows you the color right there. But version 4 is not working. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm guessing it will be fixed. So that's it. The next one might be one for setting up Tailwind with the new version 4 with React, but ideally it's a very similar process. Only now here when you come to installation, you lose this using Vite. So if you're just working with plain HTML, CSS, JS, and you come to get started, so when you go to the site and you click on get started, don't follow the using Vite process. Go to the Tailwind CLI process and follow that. If you're implementing it in React, then follow the using Vite process. If you're implementing it in Next, I think there's a framework guide here for Next.js. Follow this process, but the process should be very similar to the Vite. Let me see. So install that. This is using PostCSS. Using Vite is not using PostCSS. I think that's the difference. So go to your respective guideline. React using Vite, normal HTML, plain HTML, CSS, JS, then any other framework you'll find here. They have a guide for it. All right, so that's it. I need to sleep. It's 1:37. Go work tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.